Our movie begins with Taylor, a man who has been imprisoned for over 13 years. The exact day life finally smiles at him, and he learns he will be released early for good behavior. He is forced into a horrifying ultimatum by his only friend in prison. Either he violently murders a man in the middle of the prison block, or his friend will have Taylor's son chopped into pieces and thrown in the street. Before we find out if he chooses his own life or his son's, why he was imprisoned in the first place, and what led him to this terrifying moment, let's break down the whole story in detail. Before we delve into the details, a quick reminder to subscribe and like to support our efforts. The story starts in prison. Suddenly, Taylor finds half the inmates from his cell block standing inside his cell. Alex, the gang leader responsible for selling illegal substances to the inmates, had a stash of pills stolen from him. Alex is convinced the thief is either Taylor or his cellmate, as the stash couldn't have gone anywhere else. Taylor is absolutely terrified by the mob and stammers. "Why would I steal from you? I always buy with my own money." The situation is finally resolved when a third inmate, who bought some of the stolen stash, is brought in. He confirms that Taylor is innocent. It was Taylor's cellmate who sold it to him. Naturally, the gang swarms the cellmate and beats him so brutally he ends up in the hospital. As for Taylor, his only goal in life is to keep his head down and stay away from trouble. He knows he can't stand up to the dangerous men in this prison. He spends his days cooking for himself, smoking a couple of cigarettes, and then taking his pills to get high and escape reality. When his stash runs out, he works as a barber, cutting hair for Alex and his right-hand man, Silva. In exchange, he gets a pill or two, returns to his cell, locks the door so no one sees him, and gets high. In the middle of the day, an officer enters to inform Taylor he's been summoned by name. Taylor is shocked, thinking, "I haven't done anything, and I don't interact with anyone." During the meeting, the social worker asks if he has any drug-related charges or if he ever gets thoughts of harming himself. He is confused. Why would anyone do that to themselves? Then she drops the bombshell. "You might be released before your sentence ends due to good behavior. However, it will be a conditional release. Before anything else, he needs to visualize his life on the outside and plan it out as much as possible." Taylor feels entirely lost. He's been locked up for over 13 years, so why is this happening so suddenly? She explains that the state has recently been reviewing cases like his to ease overcrowding, but it all depends entirely on his behavior until his release date. One tiny mistake, and the whole deal is ruined. She hands him a file with a questionnaire to answer, as they must ensure he's psychologically prepared for this massive step. The first thing he thinks of doing is calling his son's mother to share the incredible news. Unfortunately, her phone is disconnected. It's clear she changed her number so he couldn't reach her. The next day, he holds the file, trying to answer the questions. He is completely distracted and confused, unable to comprehend what life outside will look like after all these years. Suddenly, he hears someone singing loudly. As luck would have it, this person is his new cellmate, replacing the one who was beaten up. The new guy's name is D. Right off the bat, it's obvious D is the type who aims to be a gang boss. He's arguing with the guard because his clothes won't be transferred for another 2 or 3 days. He was moved from another block after spending 3 days in solitary confinement for getting into a brutal fight with a helpless inmate, which explains why his clothes are covered in blood. The kicker, his clothes are all designer brands. He brings in a TV to play PlayStation comfortably and stacks goods next to his bed like he's opening a mini market of snacks and drinks. But that's just the front. His real business is dealing all kinds of illegal substances. Throughout all of this, Taylor watches in silence. He has enough on his plate, and all he cares about is getting out safely. An inmate enters and asks if a can of tuna is for sale. D replies, "Forget the food, man. I have the good stuff you actually want." But the inmate really just wants tuna. He tells D, "Alex, the block boss, gets me whatever I need," and walks away. D is highly offended and tells Taylor, "Give it 2 or 3 days max, and they'll realize the value of what I have. They'll be lining up at our door begging me to sell to them." D opens the tuna to eat it himself. Later, another inmate enters looking to buy deodorant. D loses his mind, attacks him, and yells, "I know you. You're from the Green Gang." No matter how much the poor guy swears he has the wrong person, D insists. He grabs the sharp lid of the tuna can and slashes it across the man's face, scarring him. "Go back to your gang and tell them true darkness is coming for all of them." D then turns to Taylor and asks, "How long have they been in this prison? And how many are there?" Taylor is terrified because he doesn't even know who the Green Gang is. D looks at him suspiciously, thinking, maybe you're one of them too. Regardless, D shares a rumor. They say this prison is getting demolished. They'll transfer half the inmates and release the other half. The next day, D Dee notices Taylor struggling to squeeze the last drop out of his toothpaste tube. Surprisingly, Dee does him a solid and gives him his own tube to use, a massive act of generosity for someone with Dee's personality. Later, Taylor calls a friend to get his son's mother's Becky's new number. He hasn't heard from them since he was locked up. When she hears his voice, she is furious. "Where did you get my number? Didn't I tell you I never want to hear your voice again?" He tries to explain. "I don't want anything from you. I just want to see my son, Adam." She scoffs, asking why he suddenly remembered him now. She reminds him of the harsh truth. "The last time your son came to visit you, you were completely high and unconscious. You couldn't even take care of yourself. He hasn't known anything about you for over 14 years. Do not turn his life upside down for nothing." She hangs up in his face. Taylor is devastated. He knows everything she said is absolutely true, but at the same time, he misses his son and just wants to talk to him like any normal father. He goes to Alex to buy his usual pills. Back in his room, he waits to make sure Dee is asleep so he won't be seen taking his dose. After he finishes, Dee suddenly speaks up. "So my roommate turned out to be an addict. Be careful, a slight overdose will easily kill you." The next day, Dee shows Taylor a video of his crew on the outside beating people up and stealing their stash. The consequences for anyone who crosses them. Dee casually offers, "If you want, I can send my guys after your wife to bring her back to you." Taylor explains, "Becky left me before I even went to prison because she hated the lifestyle I was living. Honestly, I don't care about her. I just want to fix my relationship with my son. Nothing more. Can you get me a phone?" Dee surprisingly agrees and gives Taylor his personal phone, but with a stern warning. "If anything happens to this phone, you will pay a heavy price. I've beaten people half to death for much less." Taylor is thrilled to finally have a way to reach his son. He spends the entire day searching social media until he finds Adam's account. Seeing his son's picture, he can't believe how fast he's grown up. Dee jumps onto Taylor's bed, urging him, "Send him a message right now. What are you wasting time for?" But Taylor is incredibly nervous. "I just need a moment to myself to be sigh," he says, annoyed. Dee climbs back down. "Man, you are so boring." Taylor finally gathers his courage and sends a message. "I am your father." The boy reads the message, but doesn't reply. Taylor sends another message with his phone number, just in case Adam ever wants to call. Later, Taylor is standing by the sink, smoking a cigarette and looking out the window. Suddenly, he sees a small drone hovering outside, carrying a small bag. Knowing it's filled with illegal contraband since this is how they smuggle it in, and seeing the drone has a camera, he waves frantically, trying to signal the pilot that they have the wrong cell window. When he realizes it's hopeless, he uses a broomstick to pull the stash inside before any guards spot it and ruin his life. As soon as Dee sees the stash, his greed kicks in. "Do you know how powerful this stuff is? This will let me control the entire block, just like I did in my old prison." Taylor is terrified. First, Alex won't let this slide easily. Second, and more importantly, if the guards search the cell, they are both doomed. Dee dismisses his fears. "In my old prison, the guards were the ones delivering the stuff. Relax, they don't even know how to do a proper search. Here, take this pill, chill out, and forget everything." Taylor agrees because all he cares about is avoiding trouble. At the end of the day, they are watching videos on the phone when an unknown number calls. Dee answers and realizes it's Adam, Taylor's son. He quickly hands the phone to Taylor. Taylor is in such disbelief he can barely string words together. "Are you okay? Are you training? You look like you've been studying for a year." Adam simply greets him and hangs up abruptly. To distract Taylor from overthinking, Dee tells him his own story. "I got sentenced to 5 years because they caught me with a gun. I swear it wasn't mine. I was just transporting it from one place to another without knowing what it was, but they threw the book at me anyway." "What are you in for? I heard you killed someone by accident. Was it drug-related or what?" Taylor hates talking about it, but he opens up. "After my son was born, I desperately needed money. I started selling the pills I had, knowing they were fake and had weak effects. But one time, I unfortunately got a batch of the real, potent stuff. I sold it to some students at a party. Suddenly, one of them got severely sick, started sweating profusely, and died. I took the fall for everything and got 15 years. Naturally, Becky hated me because she believed I was solely responsible, even though I did it all for her and our son. Dee is deeply moved by the story. Give me her number. I will dig up her address from underground so you can see your son when you get out. The next day, Alex summons Taylor specifically. It's been over 2 weeks, and Alex hasn't sold any of his stash. He asks, "Why are you so quiet lately? Are you buying from your roommate now?" He demands to know Dee's suppliers. Taylor plays dumb. "We don't even talk to each other. He likes his privacy." Alex buys the act and tosses him a pill as a courtesy. A few hours later, a massive cell block shakedown occurs. Taylor is terrified the guards will find Dee's stash and ruin them both. Dee is convinced Alex orchestrated the raid because Alex is watching them from afar, smirking provocatively. By chance, an officer finds Taylor's empty pill wrapper. He asks, "What is this? Should we write a report and figure out whose this is?" Dee gets furious. "Are you going to write a report over a piece of plastic? You guys hand these out like candy anyway." The officer gets nervous, knowing a full investigation would drag everyone down, including the corrupt guards, so he just throws the wrapper out the window. Once the officer leaves, Dee grabs Taylor. "You almost ruined everything with your stupidity. If you want to be a junkie, do it far away from me." Taylor apologizes profusely, knowing exactly what Dee is capable of. Even though Taylor wants to control his addiction, the urge is too strong. He resorts to taking his doses secretly in the bathroom because if Dee catches him, he'll destroy him. At the end of the date, Dee tells him, "I have good news about your son." He shows Taylor a video. Dee had one of his men on the outside deliver a pair of sneakers to Adam, claiming they were a gift from Taylor. Watching the video, Taylor is overjoyed and thanks Dee endlessly. In an instant, everything turns upside down. Alex and his gang suddenly storm their cell. They lock the door, leave a lookout outside, and brutally beat Dee, demanding to know where he hid his stash. Dee stays completely silent. There's no way he's taking a beating and giving up the goods. They continue beating him until he loses consciousness. Then, they turn their attention to Taylor, demanding he reveal the hiding spot. At first, Taylor refuses to sell out his friends so easily, but when they pull out a shiv and threaten to permanently disfigure his face, he points to a loose floorboard. Once they break the board and find a massive stash, Alex goes crazy on Taylor. He had interrogated Taylor earlier, and Taylor had lied to his face. Silva records the unconscious Dee on his phone. To make matters worse, Alex forces Taylor to violently punch his unconscious friend in the face so he's captured on video. Terrorized by fear, Taylor complies. Dee is hospitalized, while Taylor is left with a minor head injury. The officer reminds Taylor, "You have a week left, max, before you're released. Stop getting into pointless trouble." Later, Adam video calls Taylor on Dee's phone. Taylor answers quickly but refuses to turn on the camera. He can't let his son see him battered and bruised. He makes sure Adam is okay and quickly hangs up before anyone sees the phone. Some time later, Dee is released from the hospital and returns to the cell. Taylor is incredibly anxious about Dee's reaction and deeply ashamed of what he did. He follows Dee in to apologize, but Dee's face is cold and hostile. He ignores Taylor and walks right back out. Days pass, and Dee remains completely silent, giving no reaction whatsoever, until the inmate who bought the stolen goods is transferred into their block. Dee takes him into the cell and tells him, "I'm just waiting to get my health back, and then I will finish them all off, one by one." When Taylor hands Dee a cup of water, Dee suddenly attacks him. He beats Taylor mercilessly, screaming, "You let them beat me and did nothing but watch." Taylor doesn't fight back. He lets Dee release all his pent-up rage. When Dee finally backs off, Taylor asks quietly, "Can I get up now, or are you going to hit me again?" Later, when Taylor hands his file to the social worker, she advises him to stay at a halfway house if he has nowhere to go. He refuses. He's not trading one prison for another. Meanwhile, Dee uses the inmate to intercept a delivery meant for Alex, deciding he won't stay silent about his stolen pride any longer. This time, Alex catches him in the act. Alex confronts Dee. "Hand over the stash you stole, or I will kill you." Dee realizes this is the perfect moment for revenge. He lures Alex to a blind spot and attacks him from behind. A massive brawl erupts in the middle of the prison block. The riot squad has to intervene to restore order. As punishment, the entire block is placed on lockdown, confined to their cells for 23 hours a day, with only 1 hour allowed out for food and recreation. The next day, Silva calls Taylor over because he needs someone to give him and Alex haircuts. He books Taylor for Thursday during recreation hour. Coincidentally, Dee watches them talking and spends the whole day consumed by rage. He feels his vengeance is still incomplete. D wakes Taylor up in the middle of the night and issues a horrifying demand. I want a sharp weapon from the kitchen. You will get it from me tomorrow, or I will kill you. Since Taylor works kitchen duty, it sounds simple enough, but it isn't. Panic and terror completely take over him. He thinks, I'm leaving this place forever and in a few days. If I get caught stealing a weapon, my release will be revoked immediately. Despite this, he goes through with it. He waits for the supervisors to be distracted by the crowd, snatches a sharp tool, and hides it in his clothes. Unfortunately, another inmate spots him. Luckily, the inmate plays dumb and walks away. D watches the video of his own beating over and over. His fury intensifies because they didn't just beat and rob him. They humiliated him in front of the entire prison. When Taylor returns, he hands D the weapon. D sneers, if I couldn't get a bigger one than this, then D drops the real bomb. You hurt my feelings with the way you looked at me while they were beating me. Do you think I'm weak? Well, your punishment is that you are going to kill them on Thursday when you go to cut their hair. Taylor loses his mind. He absolutely cannot commit murder. He begs D, I have 2 days left until I am free. But D has planted a dark seed in his head. D threatens, if you don't do exactly what I want, I will kill your son and send you his chopped up pieces. You know I can do it easily. Left with no other choice to save his son, Taylor agrees. The next day, in the kitchen, Taylor is entirely paralyzed by panic. Unable to focus on his work, he calls Adam to check on him. Strangely, he promises Adam, the moment I get out of here, I'm coming straight to you so we can make up for all the lost years. It's clear Taylor has figured out a way out of this nightmare. At the end of the day, D warns Taylor, if you back out of our deal, you will lose everything you care about. Watch your actions. Taylor assures him everything is going according to plan. As dawn breaks, D orders, I want you to stab them everywhere until you are certain they are dead. Taylor agrees to everything, though he clearly looks desperate to escape this fate. He goes into the bathroom and wraps a bandage around his leg to hide the weapon. Seeing Taylor trembling, D yells, why are you acting like this? Pull yourself together before I kill you myself. Taylor takes the weapon and rushes to Silva's cell to execute the mission and end the nightmare. While cutting Silva's hair, Silva asks, when you get out, what are you gonna do? Party and drink. Taylor replies, I don't care about anything except seeing my son. Silva is surprised and shares, I have a young son too. This completely breaks Taylor. The mission just became impossibly heavy. When Alex walks in, he notices Taylor is shaking uncontrollably and can barely speak. Alex gets suspicious. What is your deal? Taylor covers it up, claiming it's withdrawal symptoms because he's trying to quit. Surprisingly, Alex buys it and leaves without doing anything. Meanwhile, back in the cell, D, severely ill. He's vomiting violently and can barely stand. His mind races to the food Taylor cooked for him earlier. When our hero returns to the cell, D gasps, what exactly did you put in my food? Taylor calmly replies, I put every single pill I had into your food. You're going to die of a massive overdose, and my hands will be completely clean. D tries to gather his last ounce of strength and attacks Taylor, but D is too weak. He collapses to the floor, gasping, I think I'm done. Taylor shows him a final act of mercy in his last moments. He lights D's cigarette, sharing one last smoke together. When Taylor is certain D has reached his absolute end, he supports him, helps him to his bed, and sits beside him until he takes his final breath. Once D is dead, Taylor is overwhelmed with emotion and breaks down crying. A second later, he regains his composure and starts yelling for the guards to help his cellmate who accidentally overdosed. Afterward, Taylor packs his bags and is finally released from prison for good behavior, but only after secretly executing the only man he ever called a friend in prison.